What's going on, guys? Today, I want to talk about the pros and the cons of apartment complex investing. Just for some initial context, I consider apartment complexes to be 5+ units because of the commercial lending. When you get into apartment complexes, the value is based on the net operating income divided by the market cap rate, versus in single family homes, the value is not based on the income but based on the sale comparables. So now that we kind of got that out of the way, and remember, apartments is 5 or more units, I now want to talk about the pros, then the cons of apartment complexes and what to do to kind of mitigate the cons with apartment complexes. So the first pro of apartment complex investing is, everyone starts off with single family. You buy one or two and you quickly realize that it's just not scalable. It takes the same amount of work and effort, to be honest, to close on a 5 unit apartment complex versus a 20 unit apartment complex versus a 200 unit apartment complex, right? You have to do due diligence. You have to engage your lender. You have to have a title insurance company. You have to have a property manager. You have to have a contractor. So you get a lot of economies of scale with an apartment complex. And, the more units you have, if you have, one tenant not paying you in a single family home, you get $0. But if you have one tenant not paying you in a 20 unit apartment complex, you have 19 people still paying you. If you have one tenant not paying you in a 200 unit apartment complex, you have 199. So, you get more consistent cash flow when you go into apartment complex investing. And the next pro is that, with the increase in cash flow, you can actually afford a property manager. Typically property managers want between 4 to 10% of the gross income on a monthly basis. So that includes, laundry income, pet rent, any parking. So they just get about 4 or 10%. For kind of like the mid-size, like 30 units, it averages around 7 to 8%. That's what I'm currently paying my property manager. And what's kind of nice is in single family homes, at least in California, I'm barely breaking even and I have to self manage, and that doesn't even include CapEx. So, California single family homes it's just more of an appreciation play. But with apartment complexes, I can afford a property manager for my 26 and 20 unit apartment complex, and they take care of everything for me. All I had to do was select the right property manager. The next pro is that you get cash flow and appreciation together. And in single family, it's cash flow or appreciation, but in apartment complex, you can get both. That's like having your cake and eating it too. So, but what do I mean by that? So, going back to the value of apartment complexes, it's valued based on the net operating income divided by the market cap rate. So, the net operating income is the income minus the expense. So, as the income goes up, so as your cash flow goes up, the value of the property will go up. So, as you increase the cash flow, increase the rents, you'll increase the cash flow, increase the NOI, and that's going to increase the value. So that's what's so powerful about apartment complexes. In single family homes, it's cash flow or appreciation. If you invest in California single family homes, it's appreciation. If you invest in Oklahoma single family homes, it's cash flow. But with apartments, the more cash flow you get, the more appreciation you get. So once I learned that concept, it blew my mind and I basically never looked back. Another pro of apartment complexes is that you get cash flow day one. Like, what do you mean by that? So, literally, if you close on the 15th of the month, you get 15 days of prorated rent and 100% of all security deposits collected. So, that means the moment you close on the apartment complex, that prorated rent and security deposit gets sent to escrow and you get it day one. So, it helps lower your down payment. When you buy a single family home, it's usually vacant, right? Or if you buy a fourplex, yeah, you might have, three tenants paying you. But with apartments, you get way more rent day one and way more security deposit day one. And that just helps lower your down payment. And another pro is that, what I'm going through right now is you still get cash flow while doing renovations. while doing renovations. So, for example, in my 20 unit apartment complex, I'm renovating 5 units, but I still have 10 other units paying me. So, what's kind of nice is those 10 units paying me helps me break even, right? The 10 units paying me helps me cover my debt service, my expenses. And, as I start to finish renovating these 5 units and renting it out, eventually these units might pay for my renovations as well. So, that's what's really powerful about apartment complexes is that you can still get cash flow as you're doing renovations. So, I typically batch renovations, 4 to 5 at a time. And once they go live, you take a pause, you rent out those units, and it really increases your cash flow. So, for example, I just finished renovating about 5 units in my 20 unit apartment complex, and I thought I was only going to get $600 in rent, or about 500, but I actually ended up getting 600 in rent right now. So that's going to increase my NOI and increase the value of my apartment complex. And the last pro that I want to highlight is with apartment complexes, there's a lot of value add opportunity, especially if you buy off market from mom and pop operators. So, in the course that I created, if you're interested, you can look at the link down below. Um, I emphasize a lot about getting off market deals. So I get my data through PropStream, and I send letters through Yell Letters Complete. If you look down the link below, I have referral links to both. And I also have another video talking about how I set up my direct mailing campaign. But what's nice about sending letters is that it's targeted towards mom and pop owners, because the older demographic, the baby boomers, are more likely to check their mail and actually open letters. And what's nice is a lot of these mom and pop operators have owned the property for 20 years, so there's room for creative financing. They haven't raised rents, maybe 5 years. So when you come on, you can immediately, raise the rents. You can do some renovations and raise the rents. That's what I'm currently doing. I'm going to renovate the units to 2022 standards and then raise the rents. For example, my 26 unit, the owner was charging about $450 a month with all bills paid. It's the landlord, I have to pay for the water, trash, gas, electricity. But I just finished renovating one unit. I put around $8,000 in, and I just rented one unit, one bedroom for $700, which is $250 more. And also, the tenant is paying their own utilities, so they're paying their own gas, electricity. So that means that there's more money in my pocket, right? So utilities is about $100. So essentially, I'm getting $350 more in my pocket. And what's nice about these mom pop operators that they haven't done that. So you, as the operator, if you run it like a business and you have a property manager, then you can. There's a lot of meat in the bone. You can raise the value and do a cash out refi. So just for some high level numbers, I bought my 26 unit for about $520,000. I'm gonna put in around $200,000 to renovate, a new roof. Probably renovate around 10 units. And then from there, once I raise the rent from 450 to 700, I think the value, the ARV, is going to be around 1.2 to 1.5 million, depending on how many units I want to renovate. Because the one bedrooms are renting for 700, so two bedrooms would be around 800, and my NOI increased a lot more than anticipated. But if it's worth, let's just say 1.5, I do a cash out refi at 75% loan to value. I mean, I'm gonna take out all my down payment, all my renovation costs, and probably come out of pocket with at least $400 to $500,000 to pump into the next deal. So that is the beauty about doing value add real estate and buying it from a mom and pop operator. So now that I'm done talking about the pros, obviously there's two sides to every story. So let's talk about the cons, right? So one con is brokers will not bring you deals, especially if you're brand new. So as a brand new real estate investor without a track record, I've been through this, right? Everyone starts off somewhere. Brokers will not bring you any deals at all. Lenders want prior experience. They want a track record. um, why would a lender work with you, waste their time with you when they have like 100 other investors who have a track record on apartment complexes? Same with the broker, right? Like, why would they bring me a deal when I'm brand new when they have hundreds of more seasoned investors who they worked with before. Because all brokers and lenders care is that you close on the deal, and when you close, they get paid, right? And another con is, honestly, it's very intimidating. Like me growing up, I never thought I would own apartment complexes, and I never knew anyone who owned apartment complexes. And I associate it as a game for the rich, right? Like I only know really rich people who own apartment complexes. I never thought someone like me would be able to own an apartment complex. And, lastly, the cons is, you need to operate this apartment complex like a true business, right? You got to have systems in place. You got to have processes in place. You have to get comfortable with delegating, especially you have a full-time W-2 job. There's no way I can do my full-time job as a pharmacy director and also doing renovations in my 26 unit apartment complex in Oklahoma. So I'm actually doing a W-2 job full time while doing three value add projects. One is my 26 unit, which I'm renovating about 10 units, my 20 unit, which I'm renovating around 5 units, and then my mobile home park, which is a huge renovation project there. So, those are just some of the cons, but there's ways to mitigate the cons, right? And I'm proof. I've was just in your shoes not too long ago, and I was able to jump into apartment complexes. And let me show you how you can kind of mitigate all those cons. And so the first con was brokers will not bring you deals because they won't take you seriously, right? So, to be honest, from my experience, I haven't had a broker bring me a good deal. Usually they shop the deal around multiple investors, and between the huge bidding war, you're going to pay an arm and a leg for this apartment complex, and it's not going to be a good deal anymore, right? You probably won't cash flow. It just doesn't make sense for you as a new apartment complex investor, right? So the workaround is to generate off market leads. As I alluded to before, I get my data through PropStream, and I outsource my mailing campaign to Yell Letters Complete. And from there, I send out around 300 letters a month, and about maybe 10 people will call me out of 300. And then from there, maybe one or two might be serious about selling their apartment complex. So, in another video, and I can link to the video if you check out the channel. And also my course, I give a step-by-step tutorial on how to use PropStream, how to use Yell Letters Complete, how to negotiate with the owners when they call you, and how to close on your deal, right? So basically it's an A through Z system on how to get you from step A without knowing anything all the way to the end of closing and managing that apartment asset. Once again, the link is down below if you're interested in the course, and you can also reach out to me directly if you have any questions about the course. You can put a comment, or I also have my email down below as well. But if you generate off-market leads, you're not dependent on brokers and wholesalers sending you deals, right? Like I said before, brokers, wholesalers never brought me a good deal so far. Maybe down the road they will, but so instead of just quitting and crying, I'm just going to take my destiny into my own hands and generate off-market leads with a direct mailing campaign, right? So I prefer direct mailers. I don't like cold calls, cold texting, and cold emails. It feels too spam-like. So I prefer letters. And the next con of lenders, they want prior experience and a track record, right? So, how do you do that? Like, how do I get experience if I don't own an apartment complex? But if you get an off-market deal and you buy such a great deal with a good debt service coverage ratio, so lenders want a debt service coverage ratio of greater than 1.25. And, if you have such a good deal that like the debt service coverage ratio is amazing, like my 26 unit had a debt service coverage ratio of 1.5, they overlooked my lack of experience, right? Like it doesn't matter. They look at the apartment first and then me second. So when I said that, they overlooked the fact that it was my first time. So, another way is that you can leverage your team, right? Like get a really experienced property manager. Like my property manager has been doing property management for apartment complexes for over 20 years. So I just tell them, hey, I'm new, but I received education, right? And I also have a property manager that's been in the business for 20 years. And he manages 400 units right now. So like it's just telling a story, right? So the key is, getting educated. You can do that through my YouTube channel, through podcast, as well as, if you buy my course, if you're really serious, right? Or join another mentorship or course, whatever you do, just get educated, right? And then another way to bypass the lender's wanting prior experience is negotiate creative financing. So with off-market deals, I emphasize a lot about there's more opportunity for creative financing because a lot of the properties are owned free and clear, right? Like if it's owned free and clear, you don't have to get the bank involved. You can close faster. You can get a lower down payment. You can get better interest rates. Everything's negotiable. That's why I love creative financing. Like I do off-market just for creative financing potential, right? It's amazing. You can scale. Like you can buy um, apartments with 0% down if you negotiate correctly, right? And I emphasize a lot about creative financing. There's a whole module in my course because that's how powerful it is, right? And if you do creative financing, you don't have to get a lender involved, and it makes it a lot easier for you too to close and a lot easier for you to scale because they don't care about your track record, they don't care about your credit, they don't care about your experience. And the next con of seems intimidating. Like I said, most people just know single family homes. We live in one growing up. Maybe you have a family member or your parents owned one or own a rental. But like when it comes to apartments, like nobody owns apartments, right? Only the really rich own an apartment. So, like I said, it seems intimidating. But honestly, going through, one or two deals myself, it's not as intimidating as you think. I actually think it's easier because the lenders are a lot, they don't ask for as much documentation compared to single family homes. But what I'd recommend is get educated, join a mentorship and pay for one-on-one coaching sessions, right? Like I offer all three of those services, but you can use anyone that you want, right? Anyone that you resonate with, anyone that you like. What I recommend is follow a proven path, right? Like what, you don't have to reinvent the wheel of real estate. People have been investing in apartment complexes for centuries now. A lot of millionaires were made through real estate, especially apartment complexes. So don't reinvent the wheel. Don't go this alone. You know, sign up for a course, get educated, follow a mentor, get one-on-one coaching, and once you get that first deal, it's just the same thing over and over again, right? So like after I did my first deal, my second deal was way easier. So, what I'd recommend is just learn from someone who's done it, expedite your journey so that you can achieve what someone else has done even faster. So, like for me, for example, in about 1 year, I scaled to 90 units myself. But, and that's why I try teaching my course. If you join my course, you can potentially do what I did even faster, right? And that's the goal. That's the goal is you want to follow someone's proven path and expedite your own journey and learn from their mistakes and have someone guide you through the common pitfalls, right? I'm the type to like, I fall and learn by failing, but if I can mitigate how many times I fail, like, why not? Right? Like, why not mitigate ways I fail? So, once you get educated and, my teaching style is very similar to these videos. I want to simplify it, really make it easy to understand and make it not intimidating, right? I don't want to make anything intimidating, and it's not once you learn. And the last con is you must operate like a true business, right? So, by me having a full-time job and most likely you having a full-time job, I have no choice, right? I have to hire a property manager, and you have to have a system on how to interview and manage these property managers. You have to have a system on how to vet general contractors. You have to have a system on working with lenders, on finding off market deals, on, doing due diligence, everything, right? Raising capital if needed. So the only way to do that and to build trust and credibility is to get educated. Like I put in at least 20,000 hours of education between YouTube, podcasts, mentorships, and like I said, you just have to put in work. There's no way around it. There's no easy way around it. But the moment you do put in the work and understand it, you just learn it one time, right? It's just a learning curve. So, I hope to expedite that learning curve with the course. But you must operate like a true business if you want to scale. Like you cannot self-manage an apartment complex. You cannot handle all the renovations, and nor do you want to. It's a lot of work, a lot of headache, and I want nothing to do with property management or general contracting, but I have no issues trying to pick out my property manager, pick out my contractor, and give him my overall vision on how I want things renovated. right? So that's how you become successful with apartment complex investing. Overall, just wanted to give a high level overview of the pros and the cons of apartment complex investing. Hopefully, you found this video helpful. If so, please help me out by liking and subscribing to the channel. If you have any questions, please place a comment below. I do check the comments, and please reach out to me directly if you want more information about the course. And thank you for watching, and hope to see you in the next one.